Yo, what is going on, Cover One crew? Happy Friday. We have made it. Another week is in the books. And I'm flipping gears today because sometimes you just feel like talking. And there's a lot of things happening in the NFL that could impact not only your favorite team, but your fantasy football squad and how you draft strategically. We're talking hot topics for the NFL as we sit today. We're just leaving OTAs. Mandatory mini camps are right around the corner, and it's going to be absolutely glorious. So many things are going on. The big news, obviously, is Dalvin Cook. He's been officially released from these Minnesota Vikings after they tried one last-ditch effort to trade the man to another squad, and now the rumor mill is basically, where is Dalvin Cook going to go? Where is he going to play? This is going to impact a lot of, team and fantasy football situations. Here in Miami is in the mix here, and that's the likelihood that that's where Dalvin basically wants to reside is in Miami with those Dolphins. Going to play with A-Chain and Tyreek Hill and company would make Miami extremely difficult, no kidding about that. Everybody is off the Dalvin bandwagon, and I'm not understanding why. When we talk about Minnesota and we say, why would they even entertain releasing the man? Contract was number one. He still is only 27 years of age. So what was the big push to get Dalvin off of the roster? I truly believe that the head coach did not, see a path forward for Dalvin Cook in this offense, which is crazy to speak of. But now you got, the Alexander Mattison to be the replacement. They view him as the three-down back in Minnesota. You got Ty Chandler. Don't sleep on this man. He does have ability. He's got wheels. Could potentially, carve out a smaller role for himself. But he's got a lot to prove because they drafted that rookie McBride. And we could see legit a trio backfield with these Minnesota Vikings. Would not be shocked whatsoever. But we're talking Dalvin Cook still. You got to understand, 264 carries for 1173 and 8 touchdowns last season. He is, like I said, only 27 years of age. Why do you not want a thoroughbred elite running back on your club? You got to believe that the Minnesota Vikings, like I've said in previous videos, they're on the trend of potentially revamping. I don't want to say rebuilding, but revamping this offensive side of the football. They drafted Jordan Addison, Justin Jefferson. Who knows what the future is going to reside with a Kirk Cousins. They got TJ Hawkinson. So you have offensive pieces that you can mold and go with, and potentially getting Dalvin Cook off the books allows them to be, proactive when it comes to a Justin Jefferson contract extension as well. So that's kind of what I see. He didn't really fit in with this new regime, new head coach, and understanding how to utilize Dalvin Cook that much more. He goes on another club. There still is 3 great years this man could provide in offense. I wonder if it's going to be a 1-year contract or a multi-year term for Dalvin Cook where he signs. I would not be shocked if it is a 1-year deal. Dalvin Cook, potentially Miami, Buffalo were here and potentially, but I highly doubt that. And then, the Denver Broncos were in the mix as well. So Dalvin watch is definitely on right now. Alexander Mattison, for fantasy football purposes especially, we got to understand his value just went through the roof simply because of potential sheer volume. Is he going to take 264 carries? I'd be surprised. I truly would. I do not see him being, the true three-down back in this league. Could I be wrong? Maybe. And I very much could be wrong. I think he's a good back. I think he's done very well. He looked good last year. He's always looked capable when filling in for the often injured Dalvin Cook when he has missed time. I mean, his 2021 stats was his career high, 134 carries for 491 and 3 touchdowns. That is the career high for Alexander Mattison. So if you're talking another, 100 carries added on top of that and then potential in the pass game, we could see Alexander Mattison flirt with being a top 15 running back in the NFL and fantasy football. No kidding. But you got to understand the trio backfield does scare me quite a bit. He could lose touchdown upside with a McBride because he does have that body frame to bulldoze into the end zone on short yardage. But Alexander Mattison definitely will start rising up boards. I, for one, with the sheer amount of depth that there is at the running back position in fantasy football, I don't think I'm going to be reaching for Mattison, but I do like if you can get value to return on investment. Mattison should be good enough in this offense that does look like it could be a little bit more pass happy now that you got Jordan Addison playing alongside with Justin Jefferson and the Minnesota Vikings. The retooling has begun, and it could continue next year. If Kirk Cousins doesn't fit the bill and they don't make a long playoff run, we could see a lot of shaking moving parts going from these Minnesota Vikings. Next one I'm talking is the DeAndre Hopkins saga. He just went and visited the Titans. He left Tennessee without a contract. Now he is in New England. Is Buffalo still in the mix? Here's the question mark as well. We saw Brandon Beane was on the Pat McAfee show talking never count anything out, but he's looking for contract. And we know, okay, it is the DeAndre Hopkins situation. He says he wants to play for a Super Bowl contender, which Buffalo clearly is. Kansas City's in the mix, but they don't have a lot of dollars to give up for DeAndre Hopkins. So you're looking for incentive type deal with a low base salary to bring him to one of those clubs. Hence why I think he's going to the potential lesser teams to get that contract over going to a Super Bowl club, because he knows this is probably his last kick at the can of getting a big contract in the NFL, man. So DeAndre Hopkins still for me is one of the top receivers in this league when healthy. He missed games last year due to that suspension. In only 9 games, 64 receptions for 717 and 3 touchdowns in a completely, ass backwards Arizona Cardinals team that just couldn't get anything together. The DeAndre Hopkins situation is going to, play itself out likely for a little while. I don't think he's in any rush to go into training camp with any club at this point. So the Patriots, we know Bill Belichick has been a big fan, big supporter of DeAndre Hopkins throughout his career. So don't be shocked if he does go to New England to, at least try to compete in games. But, in the AFC East, the New England Patriots are definitely on the bottom floor when it comes to the Jets, the Dolphins, and the Bills. So they're going to have a lot of trouble. So they desperately require a playmaker like a DeAndre Hopkins. If he does find his way to the Buffalo Bills, we could see unbelievable statistical achievement from Josh Allen. So I'm kind of hoping he goes to my favorite squad. But, this saga is likely going to continue on for the next few weeks. No kidding about that. When recent news, we're talking Leonard Floyd, baby. As a Bills fan, I am so excited, man. I've been holding out hope that Brandon Beane was going to go start ringing the phones, get these guys on this roster, and I still had Leonard Floyd and Yannick Ngakoue on my list to be a Buffalo Bill. I settled, for either or, and we got the Leonard Floyd. We got Buffalo got. So it's a great signing. It's a great move. I get it. He's 30 years old. Yes, he's on the back end of his career. That's fine. He still's got jets, still has wheels, could be a fabulous rotational edge rushing presence on this defense. And I still believe that he is a bona fide starter in this league. He does have enough left in the tank, and now he's adding to this defensive prowess to rush the passer. What we all know, what is the biggest issue the biggest positions, I should say, in this league when it comes to how we covet them. Number 1 is quarterback. You got to have the franchise passer. Number 2, defensive line. Rush the quarterback who throws the football. Those are your top 2 positions in the league. And shortly after, number 3 is defensive back. So you understand how you have to build your roster. You got to get the passer, then you got to get the guys to go after the passer to try and compete. Like the Mahomes and all those boys, you got to compete and get a pressure on them to at least compete in these contests. Leonard Floyd does give the Bills a little bit of options now. So while Von Miller does say he expects to be ready by week 1, that may be a lofty goal because we know what ACLs are like. Okay, Von is a freak as well. He'll likely get back at some point, but if he is ready week 1, you got to believe he's going to be on a snap count, and they're going to ease him back into the lineup. Hence why you sign a Leonard Floyd or a Yannick Ngakoue, in my opinion, to take that pressure off. Now at least you have the double rushing prowess with a Leonard Floyd and a Gregory Rousseau while Von Miller continues his rehab and continues to get healthier to go for a long playoff run, potentially Super Bowl run. This is what the Buffalo Bills, if you're not going for the Super Bowl, what are we doing in Buffalo? Because, you guys, the window's still open while other teams are trying to close your window by getting better. The Buffalo Bills added more talent on the defensive side. We saw the Colin Cowherd comments when he's talking about, you got to add more pieces to the offense. The Buffalo Bills did that. I don't know what Cowherd's talking about. Yes, the Bills do pay a lot to the defensive side of the ball, but they realize what it requires to beat a Patrick Mahomes, to beat a Joey B. You got to have those guys to get after the quarterback and get pressure. The Bills added to the offensive line. They added wide receiver depth. They got Dalton Kincaid. You're hoping for a James Cook breakout. This Bills team is ready to go. They got Micah Hyde back. You got still, hopefully Poyer can play this season healthy, and you added a wrap also from the Rams. So they added pieces where they required them. The defensive secondary does look that much better this year, barring health. Let's hope the Bills can stay healthy this year, because adding Leonard Floyd was a stroke of genius. What the Bills totally required on the defensive side, more rushing presence. allow Von Miller to, ease into, getting back to full health this season. Absolutely love the move of Leonard Floyd, and we'll see. The Buffalo Bills are moving in the right direction. Some talk and chatter going on about the Chicago Bears and their OTAs, and they're talking about Justin Fields and how they're going to allow him to move in his progression. What is it going to be? They say they're not going to pigeonhole him and be robotic, quote unquote, in this pass game. And that is not, what a Justin Fields is. We know from Ohio State, he was an absolute baller, was able to support a Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave, Jackson Smith-Njigba, and company. He comes to the Chicago Bears on a complete teardown and rebuild. He was given no weapons, and people are starting to fall off and say he's not the guy. Why? Because he only threw for 2,000 yards last year, 17 TDs, and 11 picks. But his rushing upside is where everyone's going to say, well, he's not a quarterback that can pass, a.k.a. Lamar Jackson. And I got to say, you know what? I am a little bit more bullish on a Justin Fields passing aptitude than I even am a Lamar Jackson in that category. So I think that tells you the story of how I feel about a Justin Fields. I think he is very good. He is going to understand and learn. They added multiple pieces to this passing game, and Justin Fields' stock should be skyrocketing very, very soon. Yes, is there still going to be growing pains? Absolutely. Chemistry building is going to be the biggest one. But now you got DJ Moore, Chase Claypool, Cole Kmet, and company. And Darnell Mooney's coming back from his injury, saying he should be ready for camp with that injured ankle. So you got pieces to move the ball, improve the offensive line, which was a big headache for the Chicago Bears offense, and a Justin Fields. I do like it a lot. I mean, 60% passer last year. Okay, yes, he did throw 11 picks, and some of those passes were completely off and god-awful. But you gotta, you gotta grow. You gotta understand, youthful talent at the quarterback position, it will grow. Trevor Lawrence didn't look great his first season, his first campaign, even this past year. He still had mistakes. It takes time, okay? The NFL game is completely different than college football, and even generational quarterbacks do take some time. Am I saying Justin Fields is generational? Maybe not, but I do believe he could be an elite talent on this team. And he's going to be a fantasy darling. I mean, is this, 1,143 yards rushing last season, 8 touchdowns. Is that going to continue? Is that going to be the standard? I think that may, taper off a little bit, come back a little bit, and we could see Justin Fields throw for 3,500 plus yards this season with the wide receiver core that he does have. So for me, I am putting a lot of eggs in this basket to suggest Justin Fields is going to be that good, but I got a lot of faith in the man. I think he is absolutely dynamic and will be that in the NFL. Speaking and staying with those Chicago Bears, we're talking Khalil Herbert. If you guys know my work, I was a big supporter of Herbert coming out of the draft, saying, what was he, 5th, 6th round selection by the Chicago Bears, and I said he would challenge for a role all the way back then, and now look where we sit today. Khalil Herbert is taking first-team reps in practice, or in OTAs, and I mean, it's great for Khalil Herbert. They showed what he was able to do when he was on the field last season, 129 attempts, 731, and 4 touchdowns in only 13 games, so he would have easily crossed that 1,000-yard rushing mark. He looked good. He looked decisive. He looked confident, concise. Everything looked good. He can catch the passes from the backfield. He can run in between the tackles. Khalil Herbert is that true running back you're looking for. Yes, they added Deontay Foreman. That's going to be a problem. That's going to maybe potentially take away some goal line touches for Herbert also. We got to watch that as we get closer. They drafted a Roschon Johnson, so there are people on his heels, so it's up to Khalil Herbert. It's his job to lose at this point. They're giving him first crack at the touches, at running back 1 touches here in Chicago. But I'm telling y'all, man, it is Herbert's job to lose, so it's all on his shoulders to keep the train moving. I've been a big fan. I think that he is very good. And I think he's just going to continue, and especially for fantasy football purposes, you know what you're going to get from Khalil Herbert, barring health. Can he be the 250-plus volume type of running back? I do believe he can. I truly do. But with other big bully type of backs like a Foreman and a Roschon Johnson, he may not have to because they probably still will split. I could see 65, 60-40, 65-35 in that split when it comes to how he takes the volume here in Chicago. And then obviously Justin Fields will take some of that rushing upside away also. But Khalil Herbert, I am still a big fan, and I love what they're doing in Chicago. The build is real. Shifting gears, baby. We're talking Hunter Renfrow, 3rd and Renfrow, because the trade rumors again, man. What is Vegas doing at this point? Are they even going to try to compete? Are they looking to rebuild? The Jimmy G saga is interesting. We got hearing rumor that Carson Wentz is also now next on deck online, because if things don't pan out with a Jimmy G, Carson Wentz may be the new starting quarterback for these Las Vegas Raiders. They're hedging their bets that way. But until they realize, if that ankle is healthy for Jimmy Garoppolo and he can pass his physical, then we will understand. But if he doesn't, Carson Wentz could be the guy. But they're trying to shop Hunter Renfrow, and the phone has been dead silent. I don't understand. Hunter Renfrow is one of these players I would love to have on my squad because, what is he, a lesser Wes Welker type of wide receiver? His route tree is ridiculous. His release off the line is very good, and he can catch everything that comes his way. So he is one of these guys that I think is going to continue to be undervalued throughout his entire NFL career, but he is that good. And I actually hope and root that he gets out of this Vegas Raiders team where he can go to a club that can actually utilize him properly, because Hunter Renfrow is one of these guys, barring health, of course. He dealt with some injuries last year, played only 13 contests, but his career season was 103 receptions, man. What do you want from this man? 103 for 1038 and 2 touchdowns. Hunter Renfrow is legit, and he's going to continue. So this one's interesting. I wonder if they actually will cut the man based on the fact that there is nothing on the open market for trade compensation. I think that is the biggest issue. I think you could fly a 5th rounder for Hunter Renfrow and be pretty satisfied with it. But, these slot wide receivers, it was big depth in this draft, so I think that's kind of, cooled his market quite a bit. But Hunter Renfrow is definitely one to watch this offseason because it is big. If he does land on a club that could utilize him properly, Hunter Renfrow could be a gem steal of value for fantasy football purposes. Debo is next on my list. Debo Samuel from the San Francisco 49ers. Told y'all, man, I'm just talking NFL news because it's going all over the place. Debo Samuel, he claims that, he's going to have a bounce-back season, and there's nothing to suggest that we shouldn't believe the man. I think that Debo, obviously we know he is what he's capable of, and he is one of the better wide receivers in this NFL. However, the sheer volume that Shanahan utilized this man back in 2021 crippled him physically in 2022. He just could not sustain, dealt with a lot of injuries, was not the same player overall. They got Christian McCaffrey. Now you're going to see some tapering off when it comes to the volume in the running game. Obviously, we saw what CMC was able to do last year. So if CMC goes down with an injury, then we could see Debo, fall back into that role. But Debo Samuel, 2021 was just an absolute animal. 77 receptions, 14,056 TDs. And then he follows it up this year with only 56 for 632 and 2 TDs. But he only played in 13 games this past season, like I said, due to injuries. And then also we got what is the 49ers' plans when it comes to the quarterback position? Are they going to continue to go with Brock Purdy? They're saying if he is recovered from the UCL injury, the Tommy John situation, is he going to be the starter? They're saying if he can play, he's starting. And this is very interesting to me. You're already giving up on a Trey Lance. I find that very intriguing that Kyle Shanahan has more faith in Brock Purdy. Obviously, Purdy did more with this offense than Trey Lance did, but I still believe this is an open competition. I think if Trey Lance, and we've seen some footage already, Trey Lance has fixed his footwork just a little bit. He does look that much better. He is missing some passes still, and I think that's the issue. He was raw. Was Brock Purdy raw? Sure, but he is very intelligent, very coachable, and he's able to move forward. Trey Lance is also extremely intelligent, and he's got a cannon of an arm. So if Trey can figure out the accuracy side of things and his footwork in this league, I think Trey Lance is still the better quarterback, and we all know this. Where he was drafted over a Brock Purdy, Brock would have been a first-round pick if that's the case. But Trey Lance does got some work to do, and it's going to be a very interesting battle. I think that Trey could actually steal this job back, because will they rush Brock Purdy back from this UCL? We'll see. I got to go back and see if he had the full surgery. I don't think he did. Or he might have. I might be wrong on that as well. But, just to come back that quickly, even though they said it wasn't full Tommy John, that's a big positive for Brock Purdy. But this offense will be interesting. Still loaded with playmakers. Brandon Ayuk showed out when Debo went down. But when you hear Debo, be a big critic on himself, saying he could be that much better, we know exactly what Debo Samuel has in the works and plans in his mind to say, I'm coming for a bounce back. Value for him right now, ADP-wise, is supreme for fantasy football. So, if he is going to have a big bounce back, you could even draft him as your wide receiver 2/3, and you could, get some very high-end return point productivity from Mr. Debo Samuel. So I fully expect him to rebound as well. I think he's being truthful, and this 49ers offense still going to hum and haw extremely well this season. But we're talking New Orleans Saints. Moving forward with these New Orleans Saints and Michael Thomas, a.k.a. Slant Boy. Okay, we haven't seen viable touches from Slam Boy since 2019, man. What are we truly expecting? He's starting, building chemistry with Derek Carr. You got Chris Olave to support the offense as well. What do we fully expect from a Michael Thomas? It is an interesting situation. If healthy, do I believe, the last time he's been relevant is 2019. 149 receptions, 17, 25, and 9 touchdowns, which was ridiculous. From 2020, 2022, all the way through that span, 10 games, he's only played 56 receptions for 600 yards and 3 touchdowns. This is no bueno for one of the best wide receivers that was in the NFL. But if he is fully healthy, Derek Carr could support an offense like we've seen with a Devontae Adams. We've seen it before with Amari Cooper. This is why I don't understand the hatred on a Derek Carr in this offense, because Chris Olave is about to blow up as well. Even when you're just talking ADOT, how far he's going down the field, leads one of the league leaders in that respect. I mean, then Michael Thomas continues to mop up duties as the slant boy. His target share could definitely go back up, even though we could see a transition where Chris Olave does become the wide receiver 1, and then Michael Thomas becomes the pseudo, 1B to Olave's 1A. It's a very interesting situation in New Orleans. I'm very curious. Michael Thomas said he's going to be ready for week 1. Are you trusting it in the fantasy community? I mean, it's great news for New Orleans Saints fans, but are you trusting it in the fantasy community? Will you draft a Michael Thomas? I think I would. If he's healthy, if he shows that foot is back to normal, the ankle is good and back to normal, he could still literally pick up where he left off back in 2019. Yes, it's 4 years ago, 3 years ago? I mean, it's a long distance, and I get it. So that's the concern. So I would kind of cap the ceiling on where you believe he's going to finish, and anything above and beyond that, just take that as cream on the top, because I don't foresee, the expectation being the 1,500 yards. That's pretty lofty as well, where I think Chris Olave is going to be the standard in this offense. But Michael Thomas being back as slant boy is going to be great news for the Saints and Derek Carr, and I think that the chemistry building will be quite fast for this team, and they will look good. Obviously, the Alvin Kamara situation is definitely still one to watch. Will he get suspended? That could change a lot of things. Increased targets for these wide receivers, if that is true. Last one, finish this thing off. We're talking around the NFL. We're talking my guy, Sam Howell. Okay, and I'm going to do some videos on Sam Howell in the near future as soon as he wins the starting job. I don't want to waste my time, even though I know it's not a waste of time, because Sam Howell is a dog. I am a full supporter, full backer of his game. Have since the NFL draft, since he came into the league, and I did peg Sam Howell as the most pro-ready from that past draft. And he's going to show it, man. Him and Jacoby Brissett right now are neck and neck in the quarterback competition. Coaching staff, including the new offensive coordinator from Kansas City, name evades me, Bieniemy. I mean, he's been talking up a Sam Howell like nobody's business, saying he is progressing extremely well. He looks great on the field, and he's going to show out this season. I got to tend to believe it, because Sam Howell, you go back to his college days. If you don't know much on Sam, let me school you up, man. His college career was absolutely phenomenal. 63.8 completion percentage, over 10,000 yards passing, 92 touchdown passes to only 23 interceptions, and he runs the football, man. Almost just over 360 carries for over 1,000 yards and 17 touchdowns. Sam Howell is a true leader in this locker room. He can support an offense that will have a Terry McLaurin and a Jahan Dotson, and he can also aid in the run game. He's got a good ball down the field, and he is extremely accurate. We saw, the criticisms from his final year at UNC. It wasn't his fault. He lost all the talent. I mean, Daz Newsome left. You saw Javonte and Williams and Michael Carter. They bounced. And then he lost another wide receiver, Diami Brown. They all left. What did you want him to do? All he had left was Josh Downs, and the running back room was basically gone. He carried that UNC team back, 2020, the 2020 season. He carried the team. So for me, and everybody was still behind him, still supportive, and he did not, fail and stop. His heart is huge, man, and that's what I love about him. He's one of these dogs that's just not going to give up. He's going to give the team all he's got, and playing with a guy like Bieniemy, I think, is a stroke of genius. If it's Jacoby Brissett, I think we've seen what Jacoby can do in this league. He's a capable backup. He's a capable fill-in starter. But do you want him to be the guy moving forward? I think it would really inhibit Sam Howell's progression. If he does lose out in this job, maybe confidence does pull back a little bit. But you know Jacoby's going to be on a short leash anyway, and then Sam Howell could take the necessary starting snaps once that does occur. But like we saw in Cleveland, Jacoby Brissett is definitely still a quarterback that you can lean upon if you got a good team surrounding him, which Washington does on the offensive and defensive side. They will be a team to, at least move this ball better than they did with a Carson Wentz. I'm not even kidding about that, but I am rooting all for Sam Howell. The QB1 conversation is in play. But I mean, there you have it. That is some interesting topics going around the league right now, around the NFL as we get closer to mini camps, mandatory mini camps. Everything is exciting, which means training camp is right around the corner, which also means NFL football is coming. Get your popcorn ready, man. Some days, I just feel like talking. This is one of these shows. You just feel like getting it out, man. There's just too much going on, and I got to keep you guys in the know nevertheless. But, I mean, it's going to be a fun off season. I got plenty more stuff on the horizon for y'all. So, definitely, we're almost there, too. Road to 1,000. Thank you for all the support. So appreciative of this community here at Cover One. Thank you so much. But what do you say we get out of here, man? As always, don't forget to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, jump in those comments, give me your thoughts. What do you guys want to talk about? Anything pressing on your mind that's happening in the NFL? Where do you think Dalvin goes? Where do you think D-Hop goes? Throw it in the comments. I'll definitely answer you back. But hit that subscribe button. Road to 1,000 like I'm saying. But we'll see you next time. I am out.